This is a description of a couple game prototype projects written in Opengl and C++, with accompanying projects in Maya and Houdini. For more information and to download executables, go to warshaw.co.uk. This first prototype is for a game where the player creates procedural geometry that will act as the track for cars and game objects to interact with as the user solves challenges. We can see the track being built in 3D in the top view and 2D below. The user can create upwards with W, down with S, and change camera angle with spacebar. As a simple test, I've put a point in space that the track needs to arrive at, and if the user builds track that intersects with this point, the screen goes green. These screenshots show further experiments in creating procedural curve geometry in 2 and 3 dimensions respectively. This prototype is for a game where the player interacts with a system of forces and nodes that comprise a kind of visual artificial life system. These spheres are placeholders for the eventual functionally specific nodes. For example, one may act as an eye, another a foot, another may reproduce. The player will connect nodes by drawing these force lines on the floor at the same time as forces are being created by the system. The player can move around the environment, zoom in and out, and also affect the passage of time to plan how creatures will be formed and the system will develop. This project's in very early stages of development and already has a few different versions. This version has a method of creating forces that I like, as the aesthetic seems more consistent with the underlying pattern of the ground. As we click on the surface, we can increase the intensity of the force in that area and increase the color temperature. The rendering's being performed on the GPU in a GLSL fragment shader. Again, we can reverse the time flow and see forces that have decayed re-emerge as we go backwards in time. This next version is a more stripped down rendering of the same idea using simple stock shaders and arrows for the forces. In each version there's a link between the colours of the system and the information flowing through the system, and I'm hoping to significantly extend this idea, and ultimately I'd really like the user to want to engage with this organic feeling complexity being created by a very simple system. The concept of visual complexity, I guess even beauty depending on your taste, arising from axiomatic simplicity, is one that's fascinated me for years. It's the central theme of an earlier work which involved building an artificial life system to visually represent information. It's built in Python and relies on Maya's hair and dynamics engine. To solve a problem I was having in Opengl, and to more fully understand matrices, I built a demonstration scene in Houdini of matrix transformations. The user can enter their model view and projection matrices and see a sequence of transformations from world space to object space to homogeneous space. The problem related to interpreting user clicks, taking 2D input and projecting onto surfaces. We can simulate a user click by moving these parameters, and as we do that we can see the 2D point interpreted as a 3D ray in object space and world space.